Happy holidays, happy Halloween, happy Thanksgiving's getting close. We're getting ready. Already feeling that ice already wanting to kick in for the holidays for sure, but not there just yet. But we are here for week 8 of the NFL season. Excited to get more into it. Thank you for tuning in as you guys do. It's your boy G and Alec here. Text me 100. Make sure you continue to like, rate, review, subscribe, comment, share, all that great stuff. We appreciate all the love. We're here today as we continue to do, recapping everything that's going on during the week. The last week of the NFL season. Week 8 has just passed, and surely was a good one. A lot of good stuff we want to get to. And first off, before we get into our truths as we do, there's a quick thought, Alec, from you about what you saw this last weekend.
Some surprising performances from rookies, some surprising upset games, some games that we thought were going to be blowouts that were closer as well, like your Ravens team. So it was an interesting Sunday, as it tends to be Sundays in the NFL.
Very interesting Sunday. A lot of things definitely got our attention. But a team that actually has kind of snuck by in the midst of it all, which is going to be my first truth that we have pictured here. The Jaguars caught my attention actually this week and beating the Steelers. And in doing so, going directly into my truth, there were 3 truths each week. We watched everything that's going on during each week of NFL football. And at the end of it all, we come back and give you guys things that caught our attention. And with that, again, as I pointed to the Jaguars quietly on a 5-game winning streak, beating teams like the Bills in the process, and continue to show they have built upon the success that they had to end last season. Last season, we saw how they had a difficult start early on as they were just doing a new head coach. Urban Meyer was out of the buildings. They had to get reacclimated to the new coach, the Pearson that was now in the building, and trying to get there that new formula put into place. And they kind of geared up in the second half of the season, winning a good amount of games to end it. And then they had that incredible coming victory versus the Chargers in the playoffs. They were going to lose to the Chiefs in the next round, but just getting there was an accomplishment in itself. So definitely was a good moment for them. And they built upon it this year, having plenty of impressive victories already to start this year. So with that being the case, my first truth is the Jags have taken the necessary jump from last season and even viewed as a contender this year, seriously, and going forward as well. You agree with that the Jaguars are a serious contender this year?
Yeah, I think they have to be a serious contender this year. Admittedly, I haven't watched a whole lot of their games in full.
Exactly.
But I've seen some highlights.
Oh wait, they've done what? Oh, all right. Well,
exactly. So them being on a 5-game winning streak, I didn't realize that. I know that they've been winning a lot of games. I know that ETN's been dominant for the past 3-4 weeks in a row. So it makes sense. I know Trevor Lawrence hasn't been sensational, kind of how we expect him to be, a top 5 kind of guy, but he's been good enough, and even playing through the injuries. And I believe the defense has been solid for them as well. I think that's part of one of the major reasons why they've been able to put together so many wins in a row.
Yeah.
And this was a team that you pointed to preseason that maybe should be viewed in a potential playoff spot as well too. So I think you were on the money there. And I'm with you with that truth.
I said it. A few people said it, and even saying it, I said it, and then myself kind of tuned them out for during early on the season. We're focused all in on the Ravens. We're focused all in on the Chiefs. We're focused on our LA squad. So we didn't even realize they actually were building upon the things that were envisioned for them. And they now are here, and you start to see them now, and they definitely have caught everybody's attention now. I'm sure they have impressed folks. Got another victory versus the Steelers last week that they almost lost. There was a moment the Steelers tried their best, as they've been a quiet team that's been impressed this year as well. The Jaguars on the way to hold on, got the job done, and they continue on to be a top tier team, as I believe they are maybe not fully cemented, but they're climbing the ranks pretty quickly right now in becoming so. So really love what they're doing right now. Definitely will be in our contender conversations going forward, and just salute them for the turnaround that they made in this last year since the debacle they had during Trevor Lawrence's first year with the coaching staff and all of that. So good stuff there.
Climb the power rankings a bit for sure.
Right, for sure. Actually, I'm going to you actually next. I want you to go with yours. So what is your truth this week that you want to bring to the table?
Yeah. It started as yours with a different team, but just me kind of canvassing through what some of these teams have been doing. It hasn't been as dominant, I guess, in AFC as we expected. It's been much more of a fight, a dog fight between these AFC teams kind of beating up on each other.
Before you even get to that I also know I had in my mind in regards to the Jaguars, I'll say real quick too. Another reason why, as impressive as they are, I give them full respect. We just get tell the whole moment, give them respect. I will also say that when the Chiefs don't look great right now, when the Ravens aren't separating fully like they're supposed to be, when the few other top teams that were supposed to be top tier AFC squads that we thought would be dominant, even like the Dolphins who we called Contenders just last week. We see all these other top tier squads that are supposed to be up and supposed to be top tier, having separated like they're supposed to. It leaves room for a team of the Jags who have been slow and steady, quietly doing their thing to sneak past people as they may be doing right now. So, yeah, to your point about the AFC not really being as dominant, as top-heavy as we thought it would be, the Jaguars are adding to that as well, and how they are sneaking to the top themselves. So just want to add that in there. But go ahead.
Yeah, and to that point, I think with it being kind of wide open still, like we still clearly see the flaws even in the teams that are at the top, like the Chiefs, like the Ravens, like the Dolphins. I think in the spirit of Halloween, as you said, I think the Bengals are the scariest team right now in the NFL. They don't have the best record. They started off very shaky, obviously. Burrow coming in off the calf strain and looking like a shell of himself for the first few weeks. But they're now coming off of a 3-game win streak. Burrow looks a lot more like himself. Like he's looked like he's settled in and maybe getting stronger by the week with that calf. This is a team that the defense looks legit. Like while there have been offensive struggles, the defense looks like they're improving each week and locking up when they need to. I believe, as I mentioned with Burrow, I think last week he had a stretch where it was like 18 or 19 completions in a row. Like he's looking locked in. Jamar Chase, 7-11, Mr. 7-11 himself, of course. He's always open. The running game has been an issue. Like Mixon gets all the opportunities, but he's not very efficient with them, and especially on the goal line hasn't been able to cash in very much. But I think that's something that they can find a balance with, and the offense can be carried by the passing game when they're clicking as they are.
Surely.
And this is a Bengals team that's been to the AFC Championship game 2 years in a row and has been to the Super Bowl in one of them. And so they have to be feared by a lot of these teams. Like this is a team that has proven that they can get to the top. They haven't won it all, but they've proven that they can get there and they can be up there with some of the best teams in the league. So coming off a 3-game win streak, this is going to be a perfect test for them this week against the Bills to kind of cement that. But I think they have to be the scariest, if not one of the scariest teams in the league right now, catching their stride.
I feel you in that. I think in regards to the conversation of scariest teams, and they're in discussion, surely, as they are hitting their stride. But there are a few other teams that I think are in similar situations, but have found a little bit more consistency already than they have. Like, I think even though I kind of highlighted, like, for example, the Ravens, who are a squad that haven't fully put it all together, they found ways to continue to win even through some of their struggles that they had early on this season and have had some impressive victories as we have seen. We talk about the Jaguars, who quietly are doing their thing. They've had some impressive victories versus the Bills and some of the like as well that have shown that they are finding this stride. And if they continue to build on what they're doing right now, it could be scary. Will be scary just the way as well. So I surely hear you in that. The Bengals coming off of a very impressive Niners victory need to be praised in some regards. So I definitely do in the discussion. But the top team, I don't know if I can say that just yet. Like, I like them. I do respect them. Bias aside, Ravens fan, whatever. I see what the Bengals have done. I've given them praise during this whole Burrow run that they've been on since they first got there and see what they continue to do. But I think there are a couple other squads that may be ahead of them. Like I said, I still put the Ravens or the I'll even put the Jaguars right next to them or the Dolphins, I believe, are above them still as teams that are very scary, and that if they turn things around as they're supposed to, surely are just as much of a threat as this Bengals squad is. But I hear you though; they deserve respect.
I think the last thing I'll say with that, I agree with everything you had to say there too. I think the Bengals are 4-3 right now, so they're not top of the AFC standings at all. There's teams
even outside of the schedule though. Just looking at what teams are currently doing in the context of right now, we see that the Dolphins, how it's on my mind. how they could have their flashes, and we call them pretenders last week because they don't be up on the top teams. They figure out the offense, and they get Achane back, and he continues to roll as he was doing early on the season, and they are able to make the adjustments. Jalen Ramsey just came back last week, and so he was pretty good on the defensive side. They continue to build on what they now are fully putting together and stay healthy the rest of the way. They surely will be a threat. Though we already did make our point about them. The Ravens, like I said, are a squad that can separate but can't fully stay distant from squad we saw even versus the Cardinals, that they got a big lead and then kind of let the Cardinals team trickle back in. They held on in the end. They're a squad that they just get there, like I said before, they get their hands right. They may be arguably the best team in the league right now because the receivers are the real X factor with everything else seemingly going as need to. So, there are a few other squads that I believe are just as scary as this Bengals squad. But again, like I said,
my final point was just going to be with all that you just mentioned. I think the flaws are more evident for some of these other teams, whereas the issue really was that Burrow didn't look right, and the passing offense didn't look right. But if he looks right and the defense has been humming, I think the main issue has been like the lack of efficiency in the run game. But like I said, I think the passing offense is so potent that it can kind of cover that up. Kind of a la like the Bills in past years where they had like Montgomery back there and they weren't getting a whole lot from the run game, and you knew it was going to be Josh passing, but you still kind of couldn't stop it. I think if the passing offense is fixed with Burrow, which it appears to be, the flaws aren't really evident there. Like there aren't a whole lot of cracks there with that Bengals team. So, whereas I think the flaws, like you said, with the Ravens pass catchers or the Dolphins defense or the Bills just kind of lack of consistency there. Like I think the flaws are kind of less existent for the Bengals if Burrow in the passing offense is clicking. But yeah, I understand it. I guess the last question I would ask is if you think how the game plays out this week affects your perception of the Bengals this game against the Bills.
Against the Bills, we'll talk about that more. Obviously, your quick picks. But I do think that will be a good test for both squads. I think it's really more of a test for the Bills right now, to be honest, than the Bengals. The Bengals are a team that are on the rise and getting them some healthy, as you pointed out. And definitely if they win, which again, we'll see how that plays. It will be more of an addition to what you're saying rather than being the serious team right now. So I surely hear you in that. But the Bills being a squad who we also viewed as potentially a top-tier squad that haven't quite separated as they're supposed to. They can go up against another top-tier team and get not even rolled on. If they just lose to this Bengals squad, it definitely will be telling of the situation right now. So, I think it's more of a test for them than it is for the Bengals. But the Bengals still winning will add to your point. So, it'll be a good test for sure.
Got you.
So, we'll see how that plays out. Definitely a lot of good stuff there. Definitely good truths from you. And we'll see how that plays out going forward. Lastly, going back to my things I wanted to address. You had your Halloween thing. I want to tie that in second as something to point out real quick. Something else that happened this week was a trade deadline. And there was a lot of folks talking this last week about all the big news that went down, a few big trades that went down, a few trades that didn't go down. The Ravens didn't make trades. They tried. They called every top tier team, hey, Derrick Henry, can we get Derrick Henry? No, we're not trading to y'all. Sorry. Hey, Josh Jacobs, can we get Josh Jacobs? No, we just fired our GM. We're not trading nobody. Sorry. They made all the calls and didn't quite get the job done. So they fell short. But the team that did get the job done was the Niners, and people were talking about how they went and got Chase Young and added to that defense opposite of Bosa there. It's going to be a fun duo there on that line. As impressive as it was, actually changed last minute. You may have caught it or not. But I actually think that the Niners didn't actually win the trade deadline. There are a lot of folks that give a lot of praise to the Niners for this move, and the rich get richer, and they add to the great defensive line, and they're already dominant. They got even more dominant now. As much as that defense could use some help on the line, I feel like the issues for the Niners weren't really a defensive thing. Like they could have survived without having to add a Chase Young to that defense. The offense still is the thing that needs to be tweaked at least a little bit. I know injury is a big reason to that, but finding some ways to build upon what was going on there, maybe getting some offensive line help for Purdy there, or wherever the case may be. I know their line already is Purdy, but just thinking out loud for other ways offensively they could have helped Purdy as they have struggled in recent weeks with Debo out and McCaffrey hobbled and things. Looking at them, I think that issue doesn't make this as potent of a move as people are praising it for. In turn, going back to my actually first take, the Jaguars quietly bolstered their line, adding Ezra Cleveland from the Vikings. Add another lineman. You already talked about how good Travis Etienne has been this season. They talked about how Trevor Lawrence is still finding his stride and things, and the offense has been good even before they got this additional piece on the line, adding another guard to the mix. But I think quietly the Jags going to getting this done is the big move, is the win of the trade deadline in my eyes, actually. So, looking at what they did quietly and adding more offensive help to that squad, as they already have. The defense seems to be rolling it as it needs to. They have the weapons on the outside for Trevor Lawrence to do his thing, creating more room potentially for Travis Etienne to do his thing through the middle. Surely will be a plus for them as they now fully are invested in making a title push. So, I think the Vikings actually won the trade deadline in comparison to the Niners, who are getting all the praise right now. You agree with that or no?
I'm not mad at that opinion. I think initially I felt like the Eagles maybe had won it just making that trade in the secondary, but then they got toasted for 31 points again by the Commanders.
And I didn't fully count that because that happened last week. I was talking about the trade deadline day itself. Yeah. So surely that could be added to the mix, but also to your point, we just saw what they did last week too. So
right.
That kind of counts them.
So the secondary still has issues there, even with them making that move that a lot of people praised as the rich getting richer and everything again as well.
Correct.
I'll say with the Niners and getting Chase Young, I mean, it's always great to get an elite pass rusher like that. I think it does help them. And you're not that you're saying it doesn't help them at all, but right. I think it does help them significantly because the secondary hasn't been good. Like quietly has been bad actually for the 49ers this year.
I hear that.
And I think it helps to be able to get more pressure on the quarterback so that these guys don't have to be in coverage for as long and maybe can make more plays on the ball in the secondary. It helps to have a front seven that can get more pressure on the QB. So I think it in turn maybe will help the secondary, which they should have made a move in the secondary, but this might help the secondary bringing in a pass rusher like Chase Young. But I agree that the move on the offensive line for the Jaguars is big too, and that's probably something that gets overlooked by a lot of people, like myself included. I can include myself in that as far as more casual NFL watchers.
Sure.
Don't know a whole lot about the offensive line and who these guys are, but getting a key piece like that on the line, we talk about the game being won in the trenches and how important it is to have a strong offensive line. I think that could be crucial, and as you said, Etienne's been huge. So
Ezra's been a real good young guard for the Vikings for a year or two now, I believe, for a little while now. He's been doing his thing, and they had Dalvin Cook last year for a little while, and he definitely tried his best to make most of it. But as things fell apart with him, he wasn't able to highlight how good Cleveland has been there. And then when Madison and Akers have been back there, the holes were there, and the guys just weren't getting the job done as the EP, as people have kind of been talking about. But Cleveland surely has been doing his job on that line, keeping guys protected as best as he can. I know Kirk went down, but that was kind of a non-contact. I wasn't playing on the line for that. So if people want to use that as a rebuttal, Kirk seemed to go down on his own in that regard. But Cleveland has done a good job on that line, and being able to now add onto that Jaguars front that surely already was strong. Being able to build upon that even further to make sure that Trevor and Travis back there can do what they need to, surely will be a plus for the Jaguars squad, who are like we said, are in contention now and going forward. So excited to see how that plays out. So just Chase Young, though, going to reunite with both there. They were at Ohio State for a little while. I think he actually didn't get a chance to play with him a whole lot because of injury when they were there together. But we'll finally get to play together now. Even if it's a rental, this 1 year with the Niners pushing for a title this year, surely will be a great rest of the year for them that they will enjoy and make the best of. So either way, it'll be fun. But just a conversation for the fans about winners and losers. I think the winner goes to Jacksonville, actually. So good stuff there. Those are our truths to start the episode. A lot of good stuff there. Definitely will want to hear you guys' feedback on it all. And good stuff that we'll excited to see you guys in the comments discuss. So I appreciate that.